What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another daily Manchester City transfer update. Before I do crack on with today's video, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, then do subscribe to my channel. We're on that push to 45,000 subscribers, less than 300 subs away, so any help towards that would be much appreciated. I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day here on YouTube with all the latest City transfer news. You don't want to miss a thing, so do make sure you have subscribed. It is free. Social media links are in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's video. We're aiming for 300 likes, and also don't forget as well to leave your thoughts in the comments below. So we've got no contract news, so we're going to dive straight on in with the outs, and we've got a couple of really big stories that I'm keeping my eyes and ears open for. So the first update is on Kyle Walker, and Mike McGrath has said that Everton hold an interest in taking Kyle Walker off Manchester City's hands this summer. Now, Ashley Young has left Everton this summer, and Kyle Walker is being seen as a good replacement for them to bring in instead. Now, Jamie Jackson has said that Everton are looking at 4 potential right-back options this summer, and one of them 4 options is Kyle Walker. David Moyes, who is Everton's manager, apparently a big fan of Kyle Walker, likes Kyle Walker's experience, and thinks that that has the potential to make him a really good choice when it comes to them bringing in a right back this summer. Now, this is really interesting. I find this interesting anyway, that we're looking here at a good club with Everton, a solid Premier League team in Everton, wanting to target Kyle Walker, who AC Milan have come out earlier this summer and said that they didn't rate Kyle Walker, they didn't like his attitude. Manchester City obviously haven't liked Kyle Walker's attitude since the start of last season. He fell out of favour, and that's why Man City have looked to try and get Kyle Walker out of the club. And I genuinely wasn't expecting really that much interest in Kyle Walker. I was hoping Sheffield United would be promoted, that for the nostalgia factor would want to make a move for Kyle Walker, with obviously Sheffield United being Kyle Walker's boyhood club, and he's always spoken about wanting to end his career back at Sheffield United. So that would have made sense, but because they didn't get promoted to the Premier League, I thought it's a very difficult transfer to get sorted. Where is he going to end up? Because I just couldn't see how any other Premier League teams are going to be interested in signing Kyle Walker. In particular, if you watch his performances for England during the international break from just a couple of weeks ago, his pace has disintegrated, his confidence seems shot, and he doesn't seem like a very good defender. So I just wasn't expecting any Premier League interest. So if Everton do come in with an offer to Manchester City, obviously City would be tempted to accept a low offer for Kyle Walker, probably looking for a similar amount that they were looking for from AC Milan, which would be obviously €5 million was the number that was being quoted. So we're looking at around £4 million. I think Man City would probably be tempted to accept a little bit less. I wouldn't rule out Man City, with Kyle Walker having 12 months left on his contract, and with the player being 35 years old now, Manchester City just accepting no fee at all and just happy to take Kyle Walker off their books. Now the question is, how much of a wage is Kyle Walker going to be asking for, and how much can Everton afford to pay him, and just how good is Kyle Walker going to be for Everton? I'd have thought they'd have been looking at stronger, younger options than Kyle Walker, but they do seem to like to go down the experienced route. They've had it with Ashley Young, and they could be doing the same with Kyle Walker as well. Now, if Kyle Walker still had a lot of his pace still available to him, which to me has always been Kyle Walker's main attribute, then that would serve a strong purpose for quite a few Premier League teams to make an offer for Kyle Walker, in particular clubs potentially who may be fighting relegation or finishing in the bottom half of the Premier League. They may be looking towards Kyle Walker being that kind of experienced player who can just help their other defenders to learn, and to help younger players to integrate back into the squad as well, and seeing Kyle Walker as a potential senior figure in the squad. But I just don't see how Everton are going to want to take that risk, in particular with all the antics that come from Kyle Walker off the field. And Kyle Walker has always seemed quite keen on getting away from England and from the press to try and sort things out with his family and with his wife, with all the off-field antics that have happened. So to me, I'd regard Kyle Walker as bad news, and I'm surprised that Everton would want to take such a risk. I mean, there's no guarantee that they're going to want to make an offer for him, but they definitely are interested. There's some interest coming in as well from Turkey. We've previously heard about the interest from Fenerbahce, so definitely something I'm keeping my eyes and ears open for. I don't know where Kyle Walker's going to end up, but it's definitely well within Man City's best interest to get the future of Kyle Walker sorted sooner rather than later. Everton interested, Fenerbahce interested. What's going to happen? Who knows? And it's quite a similar stance really with Jack Grealish as well. The Telegraph have said that Napoli and their manager Antonio Conte were keen on signing Jack Grealish in the January transfer window. They chose not to make a move, and that interest has remained heading into this summer transfer window as well. But no offers and no talks are underway as of yet, because Napoli fear that they cannot afford Jack Grealish's wage, and they have put out there that they would want Manchester City to cover some of his wage. Apparently, they want Man City to cover 50% of his wages to make a move possible. So Jack Grealish on £300,000 a week. They want Man City paying £150,000 a week to be covered by Manchester City to make sure that Jack Grealish is no longer a Manchester City player. Now, before I give my opinion on that, I'll just give the full context of this article. So the Telegraph have said that Manchester City are optimistic of securing a permanent transfer for Jack Grealish this summer. It said that Jack Grealish is unclear on what he's looking for in his next chapter, and other sources have suggested that maybe a loan would be more realistic to keep options open for Jack Grealish, and also makes it a little easier for Man City to secure a potential sale through a loan agreement rather than a permanent transfer. If there is to be any loan, it would require probably a good loan fee to be paid to Manchester City, and City would want a lot of the wages of Jack Grealish covered as well. Now, the Telegraph have said that whilst it was expected that Spurs, who were interested in signing Jack Grealish, could potentially make an offer, their belief is right now that Tottenham Hotspur will not be making a move for Jack Grealish this summer. So what we're looking at here is a little bit of interest from the Premier League. Newcastle United's name has been chucked out there before. I imagine there'll be a couple of other Premier League teams very interested in bringing in Jack Grealish as well. I believe that Napoli are probably the team that are most interested in Jack Grealish. They just can't afford his wage is the situation that we're looking at here. So do they want to pursue a loan deal with a potential purchase option, either an obligation to buy or an option to buy, or do they want to push for a permanent transfer and Man City are happy to subsidise some of his wages? Because what we're looking at here is teams are finding a transfer for Jack Grealish very difficult, and if Jack Grealish does want to be playing regularly somewhere else to give him the best opportunity of going to the World Cup next summer with England, which is his aim, then if he wants a permanent transfer and that's the best chance of him getting to the World Cup next summer, he's going to have to take a wage cut. It shouldn't be up to Man City to pay that £150,000 a week to secure the transfer of Jack Grealish. It just doesn't make any business sense whatsoever. Now, if he doesn't choose to take that wage cut, then he's going to be struggling to get that move. And to me, he goes down the loan route. He's not going to be going to the World Cup because teams just aren't going to utilise players who they've got on loan unless there is going to be an obligation to buy, which, going off how expensive Grealish's wages and how expensive the transfer fee would be, I just don't see how that is going to happen. So for me, Jack Grealish needs to decide on what he wants to do next, and he needs to decide very soon, because this does need sorting. If he cares about wage and money, then to me, he wants to secure a permanent move away from City. The only place that's going to be able to afford Jack Grealish, both his wage and the transfer fee, is Saudi Arabia. And if he makes it clear that he's interested in a move to Saudi Arabia, I imagine they'd be all over Jack Grealish going there. That'll more than likely kill his international career and his hopes of going to the World Cup with England. But if he wants to make a footballing move, then he's going to have to take a wage cut to secure a permanent transfer away from Manchester City. The situation that we're looking at here is Grealish has 2 years left on his Manchester City contract. That's not too long of a time, and right now a loan would serve no purpose because no club's going to take up a purchase option for him. They won't put an obligation to buy, so it would be an option to buy, and next summer he has 1 year left on his contract. Clubs aren't going to take that up. They'd be willing to wait 12 months and for his contract to expire, so then they can hope to negotiate a cheaper wage for him. If he does want a higher wage, they then don't have to pay any transfer fee for him. So it'd make more sense for a lot of clubs to wait. So Jack Grealish really needs to decide on what he wants to do, because for me, something has to give here. He either has to take a pay cut, or he has to pursue a move to a club that can afford him, but that's going to jeopardise his international career, such as making a move to Saudi Arabia. We're looking here at a player that turns 30 years old in September. He needs to have a serious think about what he wants to achieve and what he wants to do next. Does he want the money? Does he want the football? Because the situation that he finds himself in right now, to me, I don't see how he can have both, and there isn't going to be a happy ending here. He's just going to have to make a decision: Saudi Arabia and money, or join Napoli or some other Premier League team and take a big wage cut, not asking Man City to pay that wage. And if I was Man City, I just wouldn't explore that loan transfer, to be honest. I don't really see the point in us paying £150,000 a week to not have a player around our first team squad. He's homegrown. We may as well keep him here and not utilise him and pay his wages, rather than pay half of his wages for him to maybe be given a chance at another team or not, and for us to have this problem again in 12 months' time. It just doesn't really make too much business sense. It saves us £150,000 a week, but as far as I'm concerned, with the correct business sense and making the right moves and doing things properly here in securing this permanent transfer, that Manchester City can save £300,000 a week and get a transfer fee as well. I don't think it'll be the asking price of £50 million, but I certainly think there is the potential to make this happen, and Napoli are very interested in making it happen. It is believed, word coming in from Italy, that it is going to be a straight choice between two Premier League players, because Napoli are also interested in bringing in Garnacho from Manchester United, and if it's not to be Garnacho, they do want to make a move for Jack Grealish. So well within Jack Grealish's best interest to get this sorted, and for Manchester City and for everybody else as well. Really interesting situation. I'd love to know your thoughts, guys. What would you do about this Jack Grealish problem? What are your thoughts? Do let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget as well to leave a thumbs up on today's video. We're aiming for 300 likes. Any help towards that would be much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. It is free to subscribe. Social media links are in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships or any videos or any general business inquiries. And I'll see you all again religiously tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. A little bit quiet on the ins, and that's because Manchester City now really need to focus on the outs, securing these transfers for players that we don't want to be around the first team anymore, and then starting to pursue and see what our squad looks like and assess the situation again from there. So focus very much now got to be on the outgoings. So I'll see you tomorrow for tomorrow's update. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.